but I think there's this overemphasis on like more processing will make it sound better. Just keep adding more and more and more till it sounds good. I want to ask you too, Evan, just for perspective, because I would say you've gotten very good at sound design. If I told you, or if I ask you rather, how limited would you feel by the sounds you could create if all I said was use only basic shapes, a high pass notch filter, and a Combs filter for the next month? Everything else you could change. How do you feel about that? You think you could still like generate enough sounds to make each song unique?
So I only get basic shapes.
Only basic shapes.
I get distortion?
Everything else is tweakable.
Oh.
You limit your wavetables, limit your filter.
Are you kidding me? That's like all I use anyways. Yes,
right.
Definitely.
Even if you were just going in and FMing a saw wave to a saw wave and use the same filter every time.
You secretly just unlocked like the sound design tip that almost no one understands. Stop fucking with those ridiculous wavetables. They do work, but they have such a specific tone that you're unable to process them in an interesting way. Start with the basic shit and then go ham on the processing. Like, you're able, this is something that I like spent like a little bit of time talking about my weekly download because I'm super passionate about. If you can take that simple sound and use that sound and process it in a creative way, it is going to connect with the listener way more. It is going to translate your songwriting way more. It's going to be an effective, efficient, like it's going to seem clearer. It's not going to have these weird tonality issues. Like, yeah, for like screechy dubstep, like use whatever reverb filter, rhythm bass. It doesn't matter what the tonality is. But if you're doing anything that's like playing, I mean, it does a little bit, but it's more atonal, right? It's more about, fired. It's not a shot fired. It's way more atonal than like a glitch mob track that might be considered dubstep, right? So if you're trying to do something that has more melodic songwriting involved in your heavy distorted basses, start with simpler sounds and go ham on those, because that will yield something that will translate in a melodic sense, something that I have been doing a lot and I really like.
So this brings us right to the other question that I had queued up. Big shouts to Josh T. He asked us, he said he's been struggling with over-processing his sounds and knowing when to stop or try something else. He feels like he can go forever with processing sounds. So, I mean, real quick, to break that question down, it's more like, so what are some good practices for knowing how to process sounds, and what are some good rules of thumb to know when you're over processing your sounds and when to just stop already?
I got a passionate rant coming, so Evan, take this shit away.
Nice. Okay, so you know when to stop when you run out of assignable slots in Serum to do any more automations. That literally just started happening to me in like the past like 3 weeks. This has happened to me like 4 times, and that is a definite indication. You probably don't need any more. You probably don't need. And most of those are because I'm automating other things. It doesn't matter. That is a good indication. But really, for me, did you add something that made the sound worse? Yeah. Okay, you're done. Just go back to the thing that you liked. You know, do you like it yet? No? Keep going. Did you make some stuff that made it worse? Take that off and leave it. You know, that's really like the biggest just fucking cut and dry for me. Rant away. Rant and get.
I love that, and I love that you said that, and I think there's something I want to just add to that as a preliminary to exactly what you said. But I think there's this overemphasis on like more processing will make it sound better. Just keep adding more and more and more till it sounds good. But I really, really, really want to emphasize on dialing in those fundamentals. And like, I want you to think more about, is the filter cut off at 47 or 49? Or can this LFO be like 3 milliseconds shorter? Or what about this FM value? Can it be like 1 notch up or down? Like really dialing in those fundamentals, because the thing is, you have to get that sound actually building up frequencies in the right sort of sections and then filtering out all the garbage properly. And you will hear, if you spend some time, have a few sessions at first where you just spend an hour going in on like moving this filter and then adjusting the FM once you start to hear a pure focused tone to the sound, tweaking other parameters, switching up when the sound ends to fit it in the pocket, switching to another basic shape wavetable, making sure that there is actually some sort of character to this marble that you're going to be sculpting away at. When you start distorting the sound, when you start adding another filter to it, when you start doing all this crazy shit, if there is a solid fundamental to work with, it is going to take you so much farther. And so I want you to hyper focus not on the post processing, but on those minute details, like how the sound fits in the pocket. Like, can that LFO be more curved or more like concave? Can it end a bit shorter, or can it be dragged out a bit longer? Does it need more of like a sudden concave attack, or can it have more of a rounded attack? Do I need a low pass 12 filter, or do I need a low pass 18 filter? You know, like, or a band pass. Like, really get those fundamentals dialed in, and you'll find you can add way more post-processing on after if that's what you want, because there is a actual focus thing to the sound. I find people think that crazy wavetable A, FM to crazy wavetable B, and then I know a growly filter goes roughly here, or I know a plucky sound has roughly this filter. Like, fuck roughly, get that shit super dialed in, and basic shapes will take you so much further than the craziest wavetables, because what people end up getting most of the time is like all of this crazy convoluted messy high end, which they then start distorting, and then it turns into basically like white noise by the end of their basic processing. And then they're wondering why additional processing isn't taking that sound further. Like, I cannot stress enough how important it is to focus on like I said, is the filter at 47 or 49, or can it be at like 48? And can this FM value be like up or down 1 notch? That is the gem that nobody's going to talk about on YouTube, because it's not cool. As soon as you start focusing on that, your shit will skyrocket to the next level. I promise you, guaranteed.
I love it.
Rant done.
I absolutely love it, man. And I love that this, like, you guys really put out some points that I quickly touched on in my reply message. The main one being, you know, make sure you're starting your sound design sessions with good sounds. Because if you go in like garbage in, garbage out, if you go in with a noisy, weird sound, or if you're reprocessing a piece of audio that already has weird artifacts and aliasing in it, like, you are just building a house on shaky foundations. If you start with, like you said, something with a really good fundamental sound where this note and this tone and this character are shining through clearly, and then run a mud pie where it's like, oh, I wonder what happens if I really crank the delay and really crank the distortion on this really great sound. Whereas if it's a mediocre sound and we're just trying to sprinkle salt base some flavor on a piece of shit, like, it's still going to be a turd on the other end. It's just going to be a highly processed piece of shit.
It's going to be a salted turd. It's not going to taste good. It's just not.
It's worth noting too. Sorry, Evan, go for it.
No, dude, you go for it.
I was just going to say, I had a huge breakthrough when I realized that most of my favorite sound design was not made purely within the synth. When I realized how much artists rely on happy accidents and chaos creating plugins where they can take a fundamentally solid sound and start throwing it into these like randomized parameters on glitch plugins and like start stretching the audio and doing all this crazy shit. Your favorite artist doesn't hear this like crazy sound in their head and then they recreate it perfectly from scratch. They start with something basic and reliable that they know will get 80% of their idea across. And then as you start going through this mud pie process, which basically, if you're not familiar, is just a long resampling session where you're recording as you're tweaking parameters, you're going to get all these happy accidents that you just never could have accounted for or planned for. I don't care if you've got 99 LFOs in your synth and all the parameters in the world available to you, you never would be able to create this sound or even conceive of this sound in your head to make it. Start simple and start using chaos to your advantage. Create more material than you need. 90% of it's going to be garbage. Follow that Pareto's principle where you generate 100 variations on that sound to find that like those like 5 variations that are just like out of this world cool that are going to make your track stand out.
Yeah, 100%. Quick, like small specific tip on doing mud pies. Use an LFO that's not on beat sync. Turn it to like real slow, like 0.05 hertz, and just draw a bunch of weird shit on there. Like make a big like plucky shape and then make like a big boob shape. I don't know how else to describe it. And then make like some like do kind of shapes and then like just go ham with like random shapes and then like assign that parameter to all the same things that you would do for like a dubstep wub or a dubstep growl or something like that. Assign that to all of those and then a couple other weird ones as well. And then like just let it play through. And then since it's on not beat sync mode, you can adjust the rate at which it plays through that as you're doing your mud pie. And it's not going to skip around. It's just going to get faster or slower. And all of those weird shapes that you had no idea what we're going to do before create some really cool unexpected results as you start to move that faster and slower. And that's just one thing that I frequently find myself doing that I like a lot and feel like could help you guys. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to bring up in that, man, I love that one, by the way. Setting up a non-linear bit of motion that's not going to hit at the same time as you loop through this MIDI, this MIDI line that you've got repeated out for your 3 minutes of madness. And because a mud pie without motion isn't going to do much for you. Like if it's just a note and you're like, oh, now it's like kind of fuzzy and now it's like not as fuzzy and now it's like really fuzzy. It's like, okay, neat, but if it's got this motion where things are like turning way up and then back down and then whole sections of it are rolling with, with these changes, that's going to get you a lot more happy accidents. And then what I wanted to talk about is sometimes like we want to add the most complicated possible ways of doing this. Like if I throw these 9 plugins on, I turn them all up to the max, a lot of the times that, in my experience, gets me that kind of like way too fuzzy, over aliased, over artifact, like kind of synth soup noise. Whereas if I start with like I've done ones where I started with a good stock pluck patch, and then literally the only thing I did for my mud pie was tweak the a delay time. And like just, and it just like did all these weird things. And then I was like, all right, I have enough in this one pass of one drop to do all of the weird little extras I need to for the sound for the entire song. And, oh, yeah, this little bit would be great to fill that hole. And I'm going to replace that note with this trippy one that kind of reverses into itself. And then chop, 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 the shit's pretty much done by picking one good sound and doing one reliable type of mud pie articulation to it. Finished the whole song. Whereas other times I've been like, yeah, I'm going to get so cerebral. I'm going to make all these cool stacks and it sounds like shit.
It's so true. It's so true. Keep it simple.
Stupid simple.
Yeah, I was wondering if that would be inflammatory.
We've said way worse.
You're right. You're definitely right. No, but I love that you mentioned delay time too. I think like you want some G. Jones fucking otherworldly stuff. Straight up put 10 delays on the track and macro the delay time to one knob and just play with that one knob. I'm dead serious. Please go try it right now. If you like G. Jones, go put it on your drum track, all your drums, and play with that one knob and write a comment thanking me later. It is so underrated, just fucking stacking some delays and making that delay time go crazy. Yeah.
Dude, that right there leads to a whole nother amazing can of worms. Okay, neat. We can mud pie on this one instrument in a vacuum, but you can totally mud pie on your master track, resample your entire master bus back into the song with some crazy effects on it and see how, because there's no way you were going to think that up. What if these 9 sounds were all hitting at this one moment of the song and it got this weird delay into a distortion, and then I like hit the pitch bend knob and then oh my God, that's ill. I'm definitely including that 9 times in this song. I'm rewriting my drop for that sound.
For real. I also want to really emphasize, if you're in that stage where you're very precious about MIDI and keeping everything in the synth still, and you're not comfortable working with audio, spend the next month really getting to know all of the different audio mangling parameters within your DAW, and you will have more breakthroughs than you've had in the last few months just by doing that. And you will realize how powerful this idea of serendipitous accidents, like you said, Luke, where you create a sound that you end up rewriting your whole drop or song for because it's just that dope. That's really how to approach your writing sessions. Take the pressure off yourself and realize that you don't have to write these crazy parts by yourself. Just do something that you're comfortable with. Push your comfort, not even that, but just do something that you know will work. Start with that solid foundation and then go full chaos mode. Resample your drums, crazy delays, resample your master, stretch it to 999 BPM, pitch it up 17, and then resample that and pitch it down 14. And
automate the grain size and the flux.
Yeah.
As you turn it to 999 and pitch it all the way down minus 48.
Yeah, aliasing is really cool too. Aliasing is like when your DAW tries to like compensate for all of this information that it got from you doing like really crazy obscure things to the sound. Like if you pitch it down way past this range, there's all these like supersonic frequencies or whatever that you can't hear, that's like at 40K or whatever, that it's going to like interpolate and then pitch down into audible range based on the actions that you did. And then it's going to start creating all these like crazy sounds based on whatever mathematical formulas it just pushed that sound through and the numbers it got back. So get crazy with it, get destructive with it. That's the thing too. Like, don't be afraid to commit this sound a bunch of times as you start doing all these tweaks. Commit destructively sound design.
but also like just make a duplication and then destroy that one. Like you could always go back.
Yeah.
Who asked that original question?
That was the good homie Josh T.
Shout out Josh T.
Shout out Josh T, dude. Both those questions.
Yeah, Cavefish, Josh T. Thanks for the listener questions.
Y'all just like really sparked some shit that I don't know that we would have talked about by ourselves. That was nice. There's some good tidbits in there.
Collaborative effort, happy accidents,
Happy accidents, people. Give yourself the most chance for random, unexpected results, especially when doing a mud pie. Give yourself just the greatest abundance of shit that you never thought would happen, and you will find your favorite sounds.
And then take those and run them through your song starting machine and then into your song finishing machine.
And save them to your library.
Yeah. And
I like it. What's up, humans? It's Luke, your friendly neighborhood trap Jesus. Thank you so much for watching our videos. We appreciate you. Remember to like and subscribe to our channels. And if you have any questions or topics that we need to cover on the show, put them in the comments. Appreciate you. Peace and peace among worlds.